One very important thing that I learned is that we are not perfect. And once you've taken out the same engine 1, 2, 3, more than 3 times, you tend to make mistakes.
Finally putting the car back together, but we put it in the wrong way.
So there is room, but at the same time, there is no room for mistakes. With an engine as complex as this one, we've got a lot on our hands. And with that said, welcome back to another video.
Turn all the pieces. This is the radiator.
This pipe is cold. It's not.
This pipe is cold. It goes to the water pump. Goes to the thermostat. And this one is hot.
Okay, to explain what I think is going on, or what we think is going on, I'm going to take you through a little crash course. This is the cooling system of the car. The water pump pushes the water around the engine or through the engine, and this circulation goes around the engine in order to cool down the engine while it is running. But this water has nothing to cool it. So that is where the radiator comes in. The radiator takes the water through a cooling system where it goes in at the top at a higher temperature and comes out at the bottom outlet at a lower temperature. So allowing the water to flow through the radiator gives it a chance to go through a system that is not as hot as the engine. The radiator is also strategically placed in the front of the car so that the air goes in through the front grille of the car and cools the water. The fans just boost the airflow that is coming in through the front of the car. Another part that we'll be dealing with in this video is the thermostat. The thermostat is a valve that opens and closes the two systems, the system that goes to the radiator and the system that circulates in the engine. And when the temperature reaches a certain point, it allows the water to flow through the system that goes through the engine, and this water is obviously from the longer circuit and has been cooled in the radiator. And we will be talking a lot about this in this video. That is your water cooling system. Back to the video. This over here is our problem. Our water gets a little bit too hot and it doesn't seem to be cooling. To give you an example, I took this very lightly and I closed the cap while the water was boiling. The moment I tried to open it up, the water just burst open and the whole thing just exploded, and it burnt my hand to a point where my skin started to peel off. In other words, a failing cooling system is not very healthy for your car and you need to attend it right away. Our problem was that one of the pipes that goes through to the radiator was pretty hot, showing that the water that is coming out of the engine is very hot. And when we felt the outlet pipe that comes out of the radiator, that pipe was very cold. And normally the outlet pipe is not going to be as hot as the inlet pipe, but at a lower temperature. This was not the case. This pipe had no water flowing through it at all. This meant there could be one or two problems. One being that the thermostat is not letting water through when it reaches a certain temperature. And the other being that our radiator is blocked because the water goes in, but it does not come out the other end. And thus, we started our investigation.
So our problem could be in the radiator. There's a blockage.
And I feel like that sensor that we keep on missing is the one.
That's doing that. No, there's no switch.
Oh, hello.
So I'm under the car trying to get to the radiator, which is over there, to figure out what the problem with the radiator is. I need to untie this support bar, move all the way here, and then we can get to the radiator.
So to get to the radiator, we had to unplug or pull out all the water pipes after emptying all the water, of course. And this is us just trying to figure out where and what clamps are holding the radiator down after I had untied the support bar underneath. We realized that it was not as easy as we thought, so we decided to take off the bumper just so we can see more of what's going on in the front end and get easier access to the radiator and eventually get it out.
After a long minute, this is the radiator. Radiator is finally out. It's not easy untying all of this, man, but it's out. We need to check it now. Check if it's blocked. Here's the bumper. Yeah, I'm feeling one of them.
This is us putting the radiator back together. Okay, I did not get the video of the process, but what we did was we took apart the radiator and ran water through it while it was open, so that we see that the water goes all the way from one end to the other. And we found out that there's actually no leaks, blockages, or anything stopping the water from going completely through the radiator. So the radiator is not the problem. So guys, our radiator is fine, yeah? So now we need to test the thermostat, because the thermostat senses when the water is at a certain temperature and then it lets it through. So when the water is boiling and it's too hot, this thermostat senses at 105 degrees. I don't know if you can see there.
105 degrees Celsius.
And then it opens here. It opens and then the water goes into the radiator to get cooled down. And then you'll hear the fan noise in your car. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna boil this in the pot, in a pot, and then obviously boiling temperature is 100. Hopefully we can reach 105. We ran the test and found out that the thermostat is not opening up at boiling temperature or any longer after boiling temperature. So we figured that it was not working and devised another solution.
Sometimes the solution is just to run it without a thermostat so that the water is cooling 24/7. That would mean that we won't have a heater in the car, right? But it's a problem to our solution because our radiator is fine, but the thermostat is not working. So when the water boils over, it just carries on boiling. And the thermostat doesn't open as it should at 105 degrees to cool that water. And the one thing about it is that our fan runs, but it's not cooling anything because there's no water going through the...
But let's pause and go back to a key moment of realization.
And I feel like that sensor that we keep on missing, it's the one.
That's doing what?
You must put a switch there or something.
No, there's no switch there.
Or how are we telling sense?
The thing is, there's two types of thermostats. One thermostat senses automatically via temperature, and one thermostat uses a wired sensor to sense the temperature. I believe we have the thermostat that uses a wired sensor, and with some research on other Opel Corsas, I noticed that they have a sensor that they do plug in to that point. The best solution in this case is to switch to a sensor that uses temperature rather than the sensor, because that's a whole lot of wiring issues. In the meantime, the car was coming back together. We had put the radiator back in, and what was left after this was our bumper, the radiator fan, clipping back the lights, and the clips at the bottom.
I know this is just something.
Situation. What up, guys? The build has kind of stopped. 1,400, 1,500 Ks. Do you think we could make it to Cape Town? Okay.